We're live.
Welcome to Fall Forward Radio.
Here we go.
All right, what's up? Jay Hawk in the house. What's up, buddy?
Man, I've got a surprise for you, buddy.
Why? What? No.
You won't believe this.
Tell me.
We are, 3 episodes in.
Yeah.
We're slowly watching the views jump up. We're at the 10,000 mark, I believe, on a couple of them.
Yeah.
That's great news. We got our first fan there.
What?
Yeah.
Stop it.
We're going big time now. You ready for this?
Okay, hold on. Yeah. Go on.
So, email.
Yeah.
Rob and Jay Hawk.
Yeah.
I found your show on YouTube recently and watched the first 2 episodes with my son, my 5-year-old son, Timmy. We love it and the message you're sharing. Please don't stop. How about that?
Wow.
Timmy drew this picture, see attachment.
Yeah.
Your fanatic friends, the Nelsons from Boulder, Colorado. You ready for this one?
Go on.
You're going to love this. Check this out. Can you see it?
Oh my gosh, that is amazing from Timmy.
It's uncanny.
That is amazing.
Yeah?
Wow.
Look at how it looks exactly like you too.
Why? Because it's got red hair on it.
Yeah.
What's that black thing above your head? Is that your hair? Oh, that's your hair.
I believe that's my hair.
That is awesome. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not follically challenged yet.
Timmy.
It's a good thing.
Well, all right, don't show off about that. I know.
That's okay.
If you look from the front, I'm fine, but that's why I walk forward.
I wasn't calling you out. I was just saying me. I didn't say you had a challenge.
Timmy from Colorado is our
How about that?
fan. That's awesome.
So here's a good thing. We got this. You know, when we get on Sirius or we get on, with Disney's network, that's going to be one of the first things we put on our wall, our fan wall.
Absolutely. We're going to bring Timmy with us. We got to bring Timmy on the radio show at some stage.
Absolutely.
Dude, that's big time. That's big time.
So what do we got going this week, big guy?
Well, good news. I got a surprise for you.
All right, hit me.
Which I know, actually, no, it's not a surprise because it's a surprise for everybody else. We got our first sponsor this week for the show. We're actually,
really?
And we're big time. So tell them who it is.
Well, I think the slot is still open, to be honest with you.
You didn't get it?
No.
Wow, that's probably the worst skit ever. I mean, people are like, yeah, okay, that worked out well. No, that being said, is we never say, and we haven't said, like every YouTuber does, is to subscribe to the channel, which I guess I do need to say, subscribe to the channel, give us more comments. Yep, so press the button, which will be in the corner. Okay, let me just see, hold on. It's mirrored, so down here.
Wherever you put your finger, we'll get it there.
Yeah, exactly, perfect.
Okay.
Got a great guest for today's show. So this was a referral from Amy. Amazing. Over 10,000 views on the last video with Amy. Really great feedback. Just awesome. Name is Cody Goldberg. And as you said in the last video, he runs an organization called HARPER'S Playgrounds. And that's all I'm going to tell you, because the video we're going to play now is going to explain a little bit about it. Then we're going to go into the video and let him explain all about the program. So go ahead, my friend, and roll that video.
Rolling.
Playgrounds like this are bad for play.
Researching playgrounds, this was one of the first ones I drove to see how they work.
And this dad wants to fix it.
I've never witnessed kids play with those things. I think at best, if you do it once, that's enough, and it's not really worth repeating. So a child in a wheelchair is expected to wheel up here and then use this handle to pull themselves out of their chair and I guess drag their feet up this series of steps. Something I've never, in my 10 years of being a playground expert, witnessed happen. We'll just get rid of that whole idea.
This is Cody. He's on a mission to build better playgrounds and, well, make play better for everyone.
Going part way is not enough. You have to go all the way. So HARPER'S Playground will play a role in changing the way every outdoor space is built in the future.
We often think of play as frivolous, but it's actually an important part of human development. Play helps us imagine, investigate the world, make friends, and develop our motor skills. And playgrounds are essential to that journey. But as Cody found out when his daughter was born, not everyone has the same access to play.
Make you even look more beautiful. A little bit extra. When Harper came out, she couldn't breathe on her own. That's really where a lot of this begins, because it was so frightening.
I stood above Harper's face, pleading with her to fight for life, and we were told that she had this rare genetic difference and that we should expect she would never walk nor talk in her lifetime. Fast forwarding 4 years later, she's taking a maiden trip in her little yellow walker to the neighborhood park. And it really is a setup for what happened next, which is that little walker getting stuck in the wood chips that surround typical playgrounds. My wife absolutely said we should do something about that. And that's what started what became Harper's Playground.
I actually found a way to make it not sound good. It's really hard to do. Our hill was designed with a spiral walkway so that wheelchairs can actually get some speed going. And what we love seeing is wheelchairs rolling alongside skateboards. The slide has got a double wide on two sides, so a caregiver and their child can go together.
When you look at these playgrounds, there's an entire philosophy that underpins them.
So we call our design principles radically inclusive through 3 levels of inviting. The space has to be physically inviting. So if you use wheels, you can get absolutely everywhere. And then we say it should be socially inviting, circular seating areas, communal gathering spaces, and the use of nature. And then the 3rd level is what we call emotionally inviting, and that's by using art, good design lines, music, things that put us in an even better emotional state.
We feature sea turtles because the sea turtle really struggles on land to get around, but in water, they soar like an eagle. And a big part of our theory is that if you create the right environment, everyone can fly.
We want people to think way beyond just kids, everybody, all ages and abilities. People like Harper are very vulnerable in the world and taken advantage of, and it can be a scary reality. And rather than focusing on how to try to change her, I naively maybe thought I probably could find a way to change the world.
All right, well, what a great video we just watched, and we are blessed and honored to have the man himself right here, Cody Goldberg. So welcome to the show, Cody.
Thanks for being here, Cody.
A pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
we're so excited. We had a great referral from your friend Amy with Don't Give Up Sides, who is in episode 3. She told us about you. We looked into you, and wow, unbelievable. I know Jay's got some stuff he wants to talk to you about before we get into the interview.
So Cody, just watching your video, we had the ability to watch it with my family. I tell you what, it brought some tears to our eyes. Really, really inspirational. Was curious from that perspective. I know we know a lot about your story from the video again, but how's Harper doing these days, and where are you guys at kind of with the movement that you're involved in?
Well, so thank you. Harper just turned 15 years old this past June 8th, and she's amazing. She's healthy, happy, still nonverbal as predicted by the doctors that gave us her original diagnosis, but started taking steps when she was about 4 years old with the help of that little yellow walker that I don't know if was in the video. Yeah, but we used the photo of her quite a bit as part of our story because it was on the very first day that she walked in her little yellow walker that she got stuck in the wood chips that surround the playground that became what Harper's Playground is today. Right. And now Harper's Playground just celebrated 10 years as an organization. Wow,
that's incredible.
Unbelievable.
So weren't you told, Cody, that Harper would never walk, right? You said that's what they predicted at the beginning?
Correct. When we received her official diagnosis, which is called Emanuel syndrome,
okay.
And it's very, very rare, the doctors had to Google it.
Wow.
And they said, from what we can tell, you should expect she will never walk nor talk in her lifetime.
And she's broken that barrier, miracle child, as I'm sure you call her. I've heard you say that a few times.
Well, yeah, they wanted to read her last rites the day she was born because she couldn't breathe.
Wow.
But she was very tenacious.
Yeah.
She fought incredibly hard. And so my entree to fatherhood was standing above her as she fought for life for hours.
So does she have that from you or your wife?
I was going to say.
She gets everything good from my wife. Although a fighter spirit comes from me a little bit too. I don't mind getting into a fight here and there for a good cause.
Yeah,
for a
there
good
you
cause.
go.
And life is a good cause.
So, Cody, there's a couple of things we want to talk about before we get onto Harper's Playground. I can see on your hat that that you said have the word play, and in your TED talk, you talked about that from the beginning. So, loved your message on that. So, I wanted you just to spend a couple minutes just talking about the play movement that you have and what you say to people with regards to play, if you don't mind.
No, of course. It's such a fascinating subject. You know, when I stumbled into this this work, I was working in marketing at Adidas at the time. I had no intention of becoming a playground person. And when I started doing the work, it just seemed that it was somewhat logical to read a little bit about this ubiquitous subject of play if I was going to be involved in a team of people designing a playground. And just as I started to read, everything I came across was it was blowing my mind how incredibly important play is to childhood development and also actually to leading a healthy life as an adult, remaining playful.
Absolutely.
So I've read voraciously now these 10 years about play, and it's really fascinating just how simple and easy it is to start to understand its importance across the board. Like whatever you would want good for your child in life, you should let them play more, right? And but it's fascinating how many adults have lost track of that and overschedule their child's life or, stand in the way of their good play. Like, because kids not only need play, but like a certain type, which is free and risky play.
And a lot of imagination involved.
Not playing on the Xbox and playing on the Nintendo.
Right.
It's the actual physical play.
All of the above. There's a place and time for some computer play, but very minimal. There's some hand-eye coordination there.
Yeah.
Right.
But by and large, the play is better when it's outdoors.
Sure.
And free of any adult interference.
Yep.
Kids need free time and play. So I like to say that play is the way. This is kind of my mantra now. It's the way to figure out who you are as a person. Like it's really like in the early days or in your early experiences as a child playing, it's the best way to figure out what drives you, what's unique about you, what is special about you. And you only do that through play. And I think it's how adults, the most accomplished and well-adjusted adults, figure it out the earliest, right? I think, people who are the happiest through good play have figured out who they really want to be as an adult.
Absolutely. I mean, from my perspective, I've been an athlete my entire life. And we just found out in a couple of weeks we're scheduling an adult soccer match. So I'm getting back into the play. I got to stretch out those hamstrings. Yeah, exactly. The thing is, I got to get myself limbo. And the thing is, you're right on that side, is that adults don't play enough. The kids play, you go out, you watch them. I agree with you. Let kids be kids, but kids love it. I mean, especially I know our children, when we play with them, they just get this sense of, excitement that we're actually involved in whatever it is that they do, whether we can do it or we can't do it, because kids grow so quick. But I love it. Yeah. I mean, especially living in where we are in Florida, I know right now coming up to the summer, there's no excuses for anybody. Just spending those 10 minutes, even if it's that with your kids outside, makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The other thing that's really cool about play to me, and I mean, there's reams of research. Any expert in childhood development will tell you how important it is, but the hippie in me, the touchy-feely side, I love also the kind of concept of how it's through play that we as humans learn that it's fun and actually rewarding to overcome fear.
Yep.
And, in your early play experiences, you climb on a thing that makes you afraid, but you realize you've got this, right? Anyway, it's just, you really build your overcoming fear muscles through play. And I think that's so cool.
Yeah. I love that saying, overcoming fear muscles. That's great.
This is the first time I said that. So
there we go. Let's trademark.
I hope we're recording.
Yeah, we're definitely recording that. We'll use that one.
So Cody, I was curious, with all the playground work that you're doing, obviously now, where are you guys at this point? How many playgrounds have you guys put in? Have you gotten into any other states yet?
Yeah. So the very first playground that we consulted on after our original one was actually in the state north of Oregon, Washington, a small town called Bainbridge Island. And I actually referenced the family. It's the mother and father of a young child named Owen who passed when he was the age of 6.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the first group of, the first family that we really adopted and helped them build a park. It's been open for many years now. It's called Owen's Playground. And they attended that TEDx talk. So they were in the audience, and I gave a little shout out to them, and I shared an image of Owen. That followed about, I don't know, it was a few months after the Today Show. NBC's Today Show did a feature on us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we received requests from all over the country for support. And at the time, I wasn't certain I was going to quit my day job and do more parks, but I was fairly certain. And when the deluge of requests came in, I knew for sure. So we did the one in Washington first as a consulting job. To date, we've done well over 10. We're losing track, and this is exciting because we have 3 types of projects. Ones that we've inspired and shared a how-to book and just sent them on their way.
Right.
Ones that have contracted us in some level as a consultant. So we'll be more involved, like Owen's Playground was. And then other projects where we're all in, where we raise $1.5 million. We're on the team and we've brought them to fruition.
Gotcha.
So we've lost track in some ways because they keep popping up. Some of those ones that took our book and ran with it.
So Cody, you've talked about that. Tell the listeners exactly what Harper's Playground is. You explained a little bit. We've seen a bit in the video on there. We've talked about the wood chips a little bit with Harper, but just explain a little bit about why Harper's Playground started and what it actually is.
Well, the very birth of Harper's Playground as an organization was to build one playground for our daughter Harper, the playground that she got stuck in the wood chips at. And so it was sort of a 3-year accidental miracle in that it became the talk of the city of Portland, pretty much. And we raised over $1 million. But most importantly, I think we stumbled on a pretty unique design philosophy throughout the world of playgrounds, which is what we call radical inclusion through 3 levels of inviting design. So it's the physical design, the social setting of the design, and the emotional connection of the design with art and music. And ultimately, it's a perfect blend of universal accessibility and natural design. This is something that no one else in the world is really doing. Right. That's what sets us apart. We're adamant that you can and you must combine universal access so people of all abilities can play together.
Absolutely.
And the natural materials that make a play area really good. Boulders, hills, trees, plants, flowers. Kids really need a natural space to play in, not a bunch of plastic. So partially because I fell in love with the work along the way. I was so passionate about it for Harper, but I started to realize I really loved doing it.
Right.
I feel like it was what I was born to do. And partially because the reaction after we opened the first park was so incredible. There was nothing like it. I mean, I don't think there's really was anything like it before, honestly. I think there's a lot that just was special about it because every single inch of the park was built with the love of Harper in mind.
Right.
And I continually, as a novice in design, but I would ask everybody, wait, what will Harper do there? And, is this good enough for her? Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. We built a park for one girl and it turned out to work better for everybody.
What a proud moment too when you guys finished that, I'm sure.
It was quite a relief as well as, and yeah, there was nerves. Like, will it work? Will kids play there?
Yeah.
But kids went bonkers for it because it's really ultimately why Harper's Playground is actually so good is not because of anything brilliant. It's actually because there's just less bad things in it. It's like kids need a kind of open space and very little because they want to play together.
Absolutely.
This is kind of the magic of kids. They don't want to play with an inanimate object and a thing. That's why these big structures don't really work.
Yeah. Well, like you said earlier, it's an inclusion space more than anything. So it's an amazing design too. I loved it.
I mean, one of the things that really got to me was emotionally was when you made that swing and there was the picture in the video of, I'm not sure if it was Harper in the wheelchair or if it was just another child, one on the swing and one in the wheelchair, and keeping them at the same level so they could see each other. That was just the most incredible image, as well as the slides. You've even made the slides wide enough so that the caregiver can go down with them as well. Just these small details that people wouldn't necessarily think about, you've nailed. Absolutely. And how does Harper enjoy the playground? I mean, does it just bring joy in her?
Well, I do like to joke that she doesn't really care that much about the playground. It's way more myself, but she loves being there, and really for her, the swing is everything to her.
Yeah,
she loves the swing, and luckily we placed the swing right in the middle of the playground. So when she's on her swing, she's surrounded by activity, lots of kids there. And I think one of the most important points about an inclusive playground is that there's all these families out there who have a child with a disability, and not only is their child not able to play, but if their child can't play at the playground, then they can't really enjoy it.
Of course.
And so what's cool about Harper's Playground is that it works as best as it can for all kids. For us, it's most important that they can be there, that everyone's in the same space. You can't make something absolutely work the same for everyone. Everyone has different tastes and different abilities. But if they can all really get everywhere and be together, and especially, sometimes it's their family members. So Harper's little sister, Lennon, luckily she loves Harper's Playground and gets probably more out of it than Harper does. But that's great.
Yeah, it's for everybody.
It's for absolutely for everybody.
I love it. So, Rob and I, we put this whole radio show together, talking to folks like yourself, inspiring others with their stories, their actions, their selfless acts. We're always wondering to ourselves, how can we help you continue on with your movement and so forth? So one of the things we wanted to, it's not necessarily a huge surprise, but we took the opportunity to reach out to our local parks and recreation. And we're trying to find out right now how we can get you in contact with them and or just ourselves to figure out what that next step might be to get someone on a phone and really talk through the ability to kind of envision what a playground maybe down here would be like for you, and kind of connect the dots for you, if you will.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it really moved us, both of us having kids the same age at 9 years old. I don't remember the last time my daughter stopped and went, "Oh, can I go to the playground?" Because you're right, they're exactly the same. They've got these bright colors, there's slides and there's bits to run around in, but there is no real thinking to it. It's just go up the steps, go down the slide, run around the wood chips. I don't know how many times my daughter's got a wood chip stuck in her shoe, all these kind of things. And then you have the other types where you have the rubberized playground where, a wheelchair wouldn't even be able to move in because it's so soft. So what you've done, with your design around the sea turtle, which I loved as well. So to tell us about the sea turtle, why you chose that.
What's funny about the sea turtle is my wife and I on our honeymoon, we fell asleep on a beach and there was a sea turtle near us when we woke up. It was an amazing experience. Like a giant sea turtle laying its eggs is really incredible. So we had this connection to the sea turtle already. But when I was thinking about which animal we would choose as a statue in the park, I had that memory of how hard it is for a sea turtle to move around on sand, right? I mean, it takes them like an hour to pull themselves, probably longer, to pull out of the ocean so they can lay their eggs. It's tremendously difficult. But if you've ever seen video of a sea turtle in the ocean, the way they just fly like a bird. So we kind of latched onto this idea that if you build the right environment, everyone can fly. Yeah, and
perfect.
So the sea turtle is really our what do you call it? Our animal symbol.
So does that have is it just in Harper's Playground where you have the sea turtle, or does that show up in all the ones that you've worked alongside?
Really just the ones that we've been heavily involved with.
Right.
We gifted some to Owen's parents for Owen's Playground, and they've put them in there. Mm-hmm. And I think as we evolve as an organization, we'll hopefully incentivize people to copy us even better and more, in more detail. I think in the very early stages of figuring out our business plan, it was all about being as open source as possible. Let's figure out a way to make it easy to copy us, because we're a nonprofit. We're not trying to hold on to any intellectual property. We're not trying to, and I think what does make us a little different than some of the other groups out there that are doing accessible playgrounds, we're not interested in them being named Harper's Playground. There's only one Harper's Playground.
Right.
It makes us, it gives us a lot more flexibility on who we can work with and who can work with us.
Absolutely.
And I think, if there's a project in Florida, maybe there's going to be a family down there that has a child like Harper that really wants to do this project, and maybe it'll be named for that child, or, like all too often we're working with families who have lost a child. That tends to be people who are really motivated to do something with that pain. And it's an honor to be able to help them realize a project like our playground. And we would not want them to have to name it our, Harper's Playground.
Well, that was when Jay and I were speaking, that was one of his things. He went straight away after we talked about it and we watched the video, and he'd started to do some research. And if I know him, he's a dog with a bone. He's not going to stop until we either get a name or a number or a connection, because you're right, there's some huge playgrounds around this area. And both of us have an idea of a guy who owns, the name is Benderson, by the way. We're going to use the name Benderson Park. I don't know if you've ever been down here. It's a huge, he owns them all, and there's a playground. And that's someone that we're going to try and knock the door down to. So that's the goal with this show as well, to distribute this out, to tell everybody, hopefully, you never know, when someone sees the show, they see your story, and they get in contact with us. So that's the goal, is to get inspirational stories out to everybody, to have them come back to us on that side. So 100%.
I really appreciate that.
No, it's a pleasure. And as Jay said, what else can we do to help you? We're going to put all your details on the show, on the website, on what else would you say that we can do to help you?
I mean, you really have already done it by creating a little space in your heart for our mission and what we do, and even kind of tucking that in the back, and, being opportunists for when somebody opens the door and bringing us up would make sense. When I did my TED Talk, or whenever I do a fair bit of public speaking now, I usually really enter that space of just trying to reach one person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One at a time. It's amazing how this movement has become something with just one conversation at a time. And I've realized, not only with regards to designing something like the playground or even living my life, quality over quantity. Is a mantra I keep going back to. Quality of human connection, one at a time. That's what I love about building spaces, physical spaces that are in large part designed to help people connect with one another.
Yeah.
As I kind of mentioned earlier, not with stuff. Right? This is the magic. And if you go to the typical playgrounds, which I will happily slam for their terrible design, and they're putting profit over people and all the rest, what you'll notice more than anything is kids playing around the structure, like playing tag or
around.
Whatever. But those don't work because they're overly structured environments, and children do not react well to structure. They want freedom to move, freedom to make up their own minds, because their brains are hardwired to do that. It's not like they're being defiant.
You want them to use their imagination. They can't use it, like you said, with these stale, run-of-the-mill playgrounds. It just doesn't work.
It's literally what brain development requires, is making your own decisions and doing your own thing, and having fun. I digress. I get really excited about the subject. So it's
okay.
No, absolutely.
Story.
Yeah.
So go ahead. So
I was just going to say, that little heart space for our story is all I could ask for, and I appreciate that you've already done it.
Oh, well, it's deep in there. It really is. I was just getting emotional. I was holding myself together when you said that, because that's all we want to do, is for someone just to share any kind of inspirational, motivational story with somebody else and say, hey, listen to this, and just take, 35, 40 minutes to listen to this. And it's going well. Things are going great. We've got some really good guests, and,
Nice.
you involved as well. So we're excited about this for sure.
I appreciate that. One point of clarification for you. You mentioned something about a selfless act or something, and I will be clear. I fell in love with this work, and I'm really, really lucky. I did at a very early age hope and wish and pray that I would someday figure out what I could do with my life that would have value, but that I would really love to do.
Yeah,
And
passion.
so it's not selfless though at all. I like selfishly love doing this work. Not selfishly, but I mean, it's just, I'm driven to do it.
Yeah.
Passionate about it. You can hear
very
it.
much.
Passion is the word. And you're not just going from helping your daughter to now helping thousands upon thousands of kids of all different types, whether they do have a disability or they don't. You don't see kids with disabilities that often able to interact with kids that don't, because the kids that don't are fine. And I remember seeing in your video how how different areas classify a playground as disabled access just by having bars. And I saw what you said about Harper, does she have to drag herself up the stairs? That's not what it's about. And, with the design of Harper's Playground, how she can access it through everything it's just genius. It's very simple, but very, very genius-like. So congratulations.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So moving on to our last section, we ask all of our guests who come on the show, as we did with Amy Wolf who recommended you to us, and we found you and you agreed. We like to pay it forward a little bit to bring in somebody else that you would recommend. So over to you, Cody. Who would you like to recommend for to be on the show?
This is exciting. I love paying things forward.
We're excited.
I'm going to recommend a gentleman named Cameron Witten.
Okay.
To you. And Cameron, I think at the age of only 19, did a hunger strike here in Portland, Oregon, to raise awareness for homelessness. And that was the start of his social action. I don't know if it was the start, but that's when I first heard about him. That's going on about 10 years ago now. And he's been really well involved in a lot of movements locally. And currently, with everything going on in the world, he just started a fund called the Black Resilience Fund that in only a week's time raised $500,000.
Wow.
That's
To
powerful.
help the community.
Yeah.
On a GoFundMe, but he's really, really hardworking, passionate for social justice.
That's amazing. So that would be great just for you to tell him about us, and then let's hopefully get an introduction and we'll get him on the show.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I can make that happen.
Fantastic.
So Cody, we can't thank you enough for joining us now. Feels like we have another extension of ourselves. I know we talked a little bit earlier about some soccer stuff, Rob playing soccer, you loving the teams. Let's stay in touch. We like to keep in touch with everybody. Again, we're trying to get in contact with our local parks here. So if we can make a connection with you to them and still be involved as well, we'd love to do that.
I can't thank you enough for elevating our story a little bit here today. And one single connection with a single park, that would be way more than I could ask for. So
we'll do it. We'll definitely do it.
Yep,
well, listen, again, thank you so much, Cody. And go the Gunners, as we say, for those us, our team that we both support, and we'll definitely touch base on that as well, and we'll keep you posted with everything else that we're doing for you guys.
I look forward to getting to know you both better and meeting you in person someday.
Absolutely.
Sounds great. All right, Cody.
Playground.
Thanks. Yeah, on a playground for sure. Thank you so much. Thanks for being on the show.
All right. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Cody.
Dude, Cody.
What can you say about that guy? What a remarkable guy. You think about this. Like us, fathers, he had a challenge in front of him, specifically around his daughter being able to be part of going to a playground. As simplistic as that sounds, he nullified the problem by building a movement behind him. And now he's got all of these people working with him. They're working with others in other states trying to nullify the same challenge they have there as well.
He had a dream. I don't want to sound like Joseph from Technicolor Dreamcoat, but random. I don't know why I said that. But that was a terrible analogy. Gosh, wow. Sorry, guys. But what I'm saying is he had a dream for his daughter. He was told she'd never walk, she'd never speak, and she has a little yellow walker. And he did it. And it's such a strong message to say, if you want to do something, go and do it. We wanted to do this. So what do? We did it. And we were watching back. I was just telling Jay earlier on, watching back from episode 1 when we were like, hello, welcome to Full Forward Radio. So we're just having fun. Exactly. So, talking about playgrounds, the thing that we discussed in that interview about wood chips and plastic steps and boring. Have you ever been to a playground with wood chips?
Absolutely. Yeah, in my neighborhood right now, we have it.
Have you stepped on a wood chip wearing flip-flops?
Oh, yeah.
And had to go straight through. And it's the playgrounds. When I first looked into Cody, I thought, okay, they were specific playgrounds for kids with disabilities. Well, yes, of course, that was his message for his daughter's side, but the playgrounds are super cool. I mean, you can do everything. He said he wanted to have the wheelchairs going around with the skateboards, and it was just great. That picture of the swing when he said he wants them on the same level.
Yeah, the video that shows the two children together, one in the wheelchair, one sitting there at the same level. That's amazing.
Just the best message. So, Cody, well done. And as we said, we want to get one of those down here in Florida. So, Mr. Benderson, if you're watching, let's do it.
That's right.
Let's get one out there. And anybody else that has any information or wants to have a playground or work with it, please let us know. Email us at the show, info@fallforwardradio.com, and we'll pass it on to Cody.
Good point, Rob.
So,
good stuff.
What else?
Well, look, I think it's about that time we talked about our celebrity guest list. What about you, buddy?
Celebrity guesses. I went first last week, so you go first this week.
Okay.
I
got a good one this time.
I've got no idea who yours is because we haven't prepared this.
I think he's a monster out in the space himself. I mean, he's a popular guy.
Go.
He's doing big things, and actually, he's a good friend of one of the guys you mentioned last week. My guy is Kevin Hart.
I love Kevin. Oh, he is hysterical.
Go-getter. He's all over the place, but reviewing a few things on his website. I know he's got a couple of different foundations specifically tied to his name, but more so the one I like, I think you too, the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He's heavily involved in it, as there's so many celebrities, but man, if we could get together with him, talk with him about it, and again, find out how can we be part of that, that'd be a great step.
Kevin Hart, if you're out there and you're listening, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the hardest working people I've ever seen, and one of the funniest as well. Just cracks me up. Imagine if we got The Rock and Kevin Hart on together. It would just be just a comedy show, just an absolute comedy show. So you guys can come on together. I don't mind.
Yeah, I said to my kids, I go, it's Kevin Hart, and they said, who? I said, the guy in Jumanji. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the guy in Jumanji. I'm sure he loves being referred to as that. All right, so let me tell you who's mine. Right. Mine's also a big guy. Okay. Moving on, and funnily enough, I've just realized I'm on kind of a trend with wrestlers here, but this one is John Cena. He's a Tampa-based guy. We're in Bradenton, not far away from him, just up the street. And he works with the DoSomething.org Foundation. And I was looking up about DoSomething.org, and there is so many different foundations within a foundation. They look after things like education, mental health, bullying. Great speaker, great actor, great wrestler.
Yeah. Transition from wrestling, movies, you name it. He's all over the place.
Yeah, so he is definitely someone that we'd love to get on the show. I know he does a lot on anti-bullying as well. So let's just hope, again, this is what we do, guys. We send it out there. If someone knows someone and can
put it in the universe.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, that's about it for this week, my friend. We had a great interview with Cody.
What do we got next week? What are we going to do?
Go ahead and run the music. This is my ongoing. Next week, we have a guest called Keith Mergen. And he's actually a book author, and he's a book author. He was a firefighter. He was a flight attendant. He worked in investment. And he's written about 3 or 4 books, but 2 of the books that jumped out are called Extraordinary. It's inspirational stories of everyday people, which is exactly what we want.
Fits right into what we're doing.
Exactly. And the next book is Extraordinary, More Inspirational Stories of Everyday People. So I got to give you this one, got to give you the kudos. You sent it to me. I reached out to him, and he was gracious enough to agree to come on the show. So that's going to be exciting. So we'll look forward to that one next week.
Can't wait. Yep.
It's going to be fun. All right, my friend, we'll sign out.
All right, well, this is Jayhawk signing off. See you next week.
This is Rob C. and the place to be. Yeah, you know me. I'll see you guys next week.
See you later. Bye-bye. Hey, Fall Forward fanatics. Jayhawk here.
And Rob C. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell.
And also check out our website, fallforwardradio.com, and the Suggest a Guest section.
And always remember to keep inspiring
and keep falling forward. See you guys soon.